Sit back and relax while I listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Stan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we're going to be getting away from one type of human in Solar Auxilia and getting to the other types of humans in terms of the militia. We still have a little bit more we want to do with Solar Aux, but we figured, one, a little bit of a break for both ourselves and you for that particular type of content, as well as we want to give a chance to maybe actually try it out a little bit more if we talk about it. So we kind of wanted to get to Militia also in time before the Cathonia book falls. So for tonight, the overall idea of what we're going to go through the general outline of the army, an overview. We're talking about the types of units they have, their warlord traits. We're going to go through the HQ options as well as the muster of worlds. I don't think we're going to get any further than that just because of things that we're going to have to talk about, I think, are going to take us that long to get through. Besides that, like I said, we were able to get something out last week. Some of the other stuff wanted to get out didn't happen, but hey, now it's a hopefully slower time around for at least me and maybe the other guys a bit as well. So we might be able to get back to a more reasonable schedule like we were having before. And now, on to the show. All right, gentlemen, it is Monday. It is 2 days past our event. And at some point, hopefully this week, one of the battle reports for it will drop and maybe the following week, the other one. But how are people doing on this here Monday?
I'm doing good for now.
You'll be doing better if any of those magic cards are worth money.
Yeah, again, it's so funny that, like, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, I'm feeling a lot better than what I was. So that's at least fine.
Yeah. You were able to make it Saturday because I was a little worried at first that it might have laid you out for too long, but I mean, and Steve and I were able to get through those Lords of War.
Pain meds are amazing.
Yeah, they are sometimes necessary. Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much.
But how about you, Steve? How are you doing?
Gotta love modern science. I am doing all right. Been getting some yard work done these last couple days because the weather's finally been nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I forgot to go outside and clear some. We're supposed to get a table delivered. Turns out it's going to be between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. So when this is done, I probably got to go clear so I can get that table in and out of here. Our current outdoor table is just a pile of garbage. So we're going to get a new one, and hopefully it'll last better. So that's fine. That and then paint. I didn't get anything done today. I've fought with Sprint, no, T-Mobile, whoever it is now, but that's all sorted out now, so it's okay. They tried to tell me I couldn't do math. I could. All right, so that's enough of complaining about what's happening there. We will start getting into the militia. So you said we're going to go through a bit of an overview. We'll talk about the types of units they have, because much like Solar Aux, they have their own special types of units. We'll go through their warlord traits. We'll talk about their HQs, and we're going to put the muster of worlds in here. Now, some of the musters talk about particular units. We might briefly mention what type of unit it is, but it makes the most sense to talk about it now because, one, you need a certain HQ choice to take them. And they even specifically say in this document that, yeah, if you take this guy, figure out your muster first, then start taking a look at your units, because they can greatly change what you may take, what you want to take, or even what you're allowed to take. Remember, all of this was released on the Warhammer community. It was released, I forget the exact date, April, mid or late April. So this is their militia document they have. All right. Who would like to start on the overview of these very normal men?
I mean, I could do it real quick. So militia are Solar Aux are your humans, just like superhuman, not superhuman. They're your Navy SEALs. Militia are not. This is the nicest way to put that.
They're your National Guard.
To an extent. The problem is, they can be the National Guard, they can be the normal army, or they could be the Viet Cong. They range and vary based on how you customize them, which is kind of cool because you can take somewhat near Solar Aux but not as powerful, or you can go just straight up beastmen. So it's kind of cool because this is kind of just the poor sod of the heresy, the mass other type of people that fought that no one ever cares about, sadly. And the rules kind of show that. But no, that's basically what the militia are.
Yeah, they're what are going to become the Astra Militarum, and from anyone who follows 40K or anything like that, we know, okay, they have Cadians is sort of the main branch, but over time they've had other different, branches even that they've supported in terms of model lines, the Mordians and which one's the Deathcore Creed? That's the one that Richard has.
No, Richard has
Does he have Deathcore?
No, he has the guys with the funny
Destroyans.
hats. The Destroyans, yes.
My apologies, you're right. From that alone, you can see how it varies. At this time, it was even more varied. Remember, I mean, even in the 40th millennium, you have advanced worlds and then you have feral worlds, and both sides can raise a militia, whatever that may look like. So what they talk about here even mentions that, when it's a very ordered place like the worlds of Ultramar, you're getting something very different than you are on some of the fringe planets, or some of this one where it's just, penal legions and it's just pure they're prisoners, or whether it's a great honor to do any of this. So I don't know if you have any thoughts to add to that, Steve. I want to make sure you have your chance if you do.
I mean, I think you guys basically got it. It's just Here's a template, tweak it as you see fit. Within the box they give you, within the sandbox. It's kind of like I want to say 3rd edition Tyranids, where you kind of built your hive fleet. Here you're building your militia, but it's more and less customizable in ways. It's cool though. There's a lot of cool themes you can pull out of this. Some things I think people are going to be a lot more drawn to. Some things it's just like, I like the idea of this, and some things you take because it just makes sense.
And they put a very nice designer note on page 4 of this, just saying that, hey, the armies all look different. We got plastic lines, we got resin lines. Just do what you want, make it look coherent. Hopefully you can do what you want, but make sure weapons or war gear is nice and clear and delineated in a way that your opponent can understand. They're obviously not going to tell you to use models from outside, but especially with this, so at this point you're talking about essentially humans, normal humans. There are tons of producers of models, of very good looking human models, or people who make STL files that you could print. So, with this, you have a lot of variability and options of what you can do, and they fully endorse it. And from all the events we've been in, and I've seen some people's converted or essentially what they want. Well, Dan, in your game on Saturday, your second one. No, it wasn't yours. No, my apologies. It wasn't yours. It was Brett and James's game. The person they were playing, he was running Lehman Russ tanks, and they were like walkers from something else. I can't remember what they were walkers from though. They were walkers from it's going to bother me. Well, when someone else is talking about something, I'm going to look up what they were, because I'm not recalling right now what they were. But as long as it's clear to your opponent, just do what you want. Like, have fun with this. You're going to need a lot of them too, so you better have some fun with it. All right. Are you still there, Steve? I know Dan had to walk away for a moment.
I am still here. I'm trying to think, because people use models from this game all the time because they were pretty sick models. It was like World War II got weird.
Yes.
The poles, and they had the Walker tanks. Was it those models?
Wait. I know
I'm pretty sure they were.
Ah.
I'm pretty sure it was. At least that's what they looked like to me. And I'm hating myself for not remembering it. That game went entirely under. That company went under. That portion of it.
But the models were awesome.
Yes.
I do remember this game.
But I can't recall what game it was. And that irritates me greatly. All right. We'll figure that as we go along. I'll put it in at some point. Okay. Why don't we go to unit types?
AT-43. I think it's that.
AT-43? There was
probably, that sounds correct, and it had like the big 6-legged walker with the anti-tank gun in the front.
I could also be entirely wrong. Hold on,
I wasn't thinking AT-43. I was thinking a different one, but it might have been AT-43. No, I was thinking it might have been that. They might have been from that, or if not that, something very, very close to it. But
see, I saw the aliens. I'm like, oh no, this couldn't be it. But then I saw the humans. I'm like, yeah, this was definitely it.
No, that's not the game. That's not the one I was thinking of, but it's similar in nature, yeah. All right, why don't we get to some unit types? There are what, 3 total. I can take the first one. I have it open here. Why not? So this is page 5. We're talking about these because we're going to see as we go along that their types really matter, especially when we talk about their third line one. So the first one's just militia unit type. So this is your standard guy.
Yep.
They may only attempt. So essentially, here's why they get their unit type. They may only attempt to regroup if the unit has at least half the models that it began the battle with. That doesn't count any that joined it during play, so from the beginning. If more than half of the models have been removed as a casualty, it may not regroup, and it keeps falling back. So back in 5th edition of 40K, if you weren't a Space Marine, to regroup, you had to be essentially half. I forget if it was above half or more. If you weren't, you would constantly fall back if you ever failed your leadership check. Space Marines had the ability to attempt to regroup at lower numbers. So we're kind of back to those old basic rules. These are very average people, so they're going to run much easier. Any unit that has any models of this militia subtype that's falling back and is successfully charged by an enemy is automatically removed. So normally you get a leadership to rally and then get attacked. If you're falling back and someone hits you with a charge, remove them. A unit that includes any models that have the subtype that are not monstrous or mechanized, that are locked in combat, and then successfully charged by an additional enemy unit must make an immediate morale check. Once it's been resolved, if the check has failed, they have to fall back as if it had lost combat. And any of the enemies there may try to sweep only if they're not locked in with someone else. Then you continue as normal. So if you're in combat and someone else charges you and they make it, you're running. So morale is not your friend. You are not going to be sticking around easily. Who wants to talk third line?
I would like to just
Very
mention real fast. I found the game.
What was the game?
Dust Tactics.
Dust Tactics. That's it. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. I don't know why I couldn't think of that game. It went away a while back, actually.
Yeah,
It went away, came back, and then it just went under. It went under essentially a second time around.
Yeah, it happens. It's real sad when it happens, but it happens. But yeah, bullet point 3. I could cover that since I spoke up. Brought attention to myself. All right, so bullet point 3. If you're militia and you're not monstrous or mechanized, and you're locked in combat, and you're then charged by another unit, you take a morale check immediately.
But
if
I think I mentioned that.
You fall back. Oh, wait, whoops.
No, we're to the line, the third line unit subtype, I should say, not the third bullet point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the third line of the thing.
No. Unfortunately, their other thing is called third line unit.
Yeah. I got so wrapped up in finding out what game that was. I'm like, weird World War II board game.
That's right. When I was going to stop talking, I was going to text someone I knew who would have had that answer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, sorry. The third line unit subtype. This makes people either love or hate this faction. It's a very divisive rule. Personally, I think it has more upside than downside, but that's probably because I'm an Iron Warrior, and this only helps you against me, honestly, at the end of the day. So third line unit subtype applies to militia models, but it's mainly for vehicles, right? So when you do an armor penetration roll, that would be a glancing hit. It's a penetrating hit instead. When an Iron Warrior las cannon shoots you, it's probably a penetrating hit because it's strength 10 with Sunder. So yes, it sucks to have things get upgraded to penetrating hits, but it's really an issue if it's an AP2 or AP1 weapon hitting you. And generally speaking, they're high enough strength. I mean, yes, immobilized sucks. Weapon destroyed sucks.
Yeah, I was going to say shaken if you have a blast.
Sure, but we're
losing your vehicle is worse.
But we're going to be playing Bane Blades, and Bane Blades don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, upgrading glance. Well, I guess on the receiving end, it's worsening a glancing hit to a penetrating hit. It kind of sucks. But you never give up victory points for destruction of models with this special rule. even for Lords of War. So it's not all bad. That means that your transports don't give up victory points, for being killed. Your Lehman Russes don't give up victory points for being destroyed. Your
Yeah.
Banebladers give up points for being destroyed. And in the kill point missions, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And you tend to, because of this, we'll see as we go through, you're cheaper in general.
Mm-hmm.
How much varies, but you're cheaper. So you are
you are
paying less for these
cheap.
things. We just went, Steve and I actually mentioned this. When we did the Solar Aux heavy support, the Baneblade there was 750. The Baneblade here is 400.
Yeah.
So you can almost get 2 Baneblades for the price of one if you were running in a way that you could take it, but you could legitimately bring 2 for 1. At least on that tank, I will take that trade-off all the time. The other ones maybe not, but let's see. All right.
Yeah, that's
Dan,
that's third line.
Yep, that leaves you for the last one here, if he's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, start talking.
Sorry, I'm trying to mute myself because my kid is trying to go to bed, and it's like,
That's
oof.
that's all right. Yeah, just when you're not talking, you have the mute and then click the button.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's simple.
It's trying to pay attention to her not screaming into the mic. So mechanized, it's a unit subtype, I believe, is where we're on.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So mechanized basically applies to anything with a mechanized unit subtype, which I believe are just the Sentinels. I don't even think they call them Sentinels, but I think it's just
this is the
I think they do
Sentinel
call
rule,
Sentinels,
essentially.
Yeah. Are they called Sentinels? Oh, perfect. Makes my
pretty
life
sure,
easy. All right. Successful wounds caused by attacks with poisoned or fleshbane must be rerolled against models with the mechanized unit subtype. That's pretty great. Failed to wound rolls made for weapons with the armor bane special rule and against the unit includes any models that unit subtype must be rerolled. All right. So they get affected by armor bane, but they're less affected by poisoned and fleshbane.
Yeah.
A model with the mechanized unit subtype may attack with all weapons when making a shooting attack, including as part of a reaction. This is very Dreadnought-like.
Everything is Dread so far. Absolutely everything.
Yeah, I think it's a model with the mechanized unit subtype may attack with heavy and ordnance weapons while counting as stationary, even if it has moved, and may declare charge as normal. All right, that's still Dreadnought. A model with the mechanized unit subtype is affected by haywire detonation and battlesmith, as if it had the Dreadnought unit subtype. Hilarious. Okay. And no model that does not have the mechanized unit subtype may join a unit that has one or more models with the mechanized. Okay. So basically, it's a Dreadnought without being called a Dreadnought. It's essentially
and without the fearless.
Yes.
Oh yes, they're not fearless.
That's why they didn't say like just same rule as the other one. Yeah, you are afraid.
This is so much better written than Armigers. They learn. They learn. They pay attention. Yes. They listen.
It's affected by things. That alone makes it better than Armigers.
Pretty much.
All right. So obviously as we get into units, we'll have more of that, but it gives us an overview of their types of units. Next is their Warlord traits, which they have quite a few of. They actually have the most of a base thing. They got 6. But that's easily makes 2 each. I don't know if anyone has any in particular they wanted to talk about.
Do I swipe connoisseur from everyone else? I think I do.
Take it. Absolutely. Take it. A classy man would do that, exactly. All right, I'll start with Ruthless Tyrant. I haven't gone through all of these, so I'm gonna be interested to see what they say. I've looked through a few of them, but
they're funny as hell. I will pull that. I'm going to say that like a little because I've read them before. They are funny as hell.
What I have seen looking through this, that they fit. This army has a very fun flavor to it, and they kind of lean into that, at least from everything I've seen, which I like. So, Ruthless Tyrant, the first Warlord trait here. A Warlord with this Warlord trait gains the Fear 1 special rule, which is kind of hilarious that this normal human's making Space Marines afraid, which affects all friendly models as well as all enemy models. Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Everyone is afraid of him. My side, your side. This does not include the Warlord with the trait, which is good. So he's the only one not afraid of himself. However, should any friendly unit that is under the effect of the model's Fear 1 special rule and under control of the player whose Warlord has this trait be forced to fall back during the movement phase or shooting phase, the controlling player may instead remove D6 models, or if you're monstrous, just remove 1. If you do that, they're taken by the controlling player, no saves of any type, just remove them from the board. If you use that option, you don't fall back, you remain in place. In addition, you get an extra reaction in the assault phase. So, if you lose an assault, or if you're getting swept in assault, any sort of things like that doesn't get affected. But if it's movement or shooting that you would fail, just destroy D6 models or one if you're within his bubble and you're fine.
Bonus if you know where this is from.
This is commissars, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think it's great that you cause fear to your own people. That's hilarious. I mean, now, okay. Whose warlord would be forced to fall back during? Okay, and this would save you from their thing of if they're under half, they don't rally because this
Yes,
is if you would be
essentially.
forced to fall back, which is you falling back, then they stop you. So this is a nice safeguard.
Because he will shoot you in the face.
Yes. Well, in this case though, he shoots a lot more. He shoots D6 of them. In
I think
40K back when that was a
was it
thing, it
the
was like
old
model.
one? No, I think it was still like D3. Then it became like one model when it 8th edition and 9th edition. But
No,
the
no, no,
old
no.
7th edition was like
It was
D3.
one for like the longest time. I know
Oh, it
back in
was
like
what?
5th edition it was one model, but it was there was a at one point it wasn't it wasn't remove a model and you pass, it was a remove a model for rerolls. It hasn't always been auto pass with removal. Sometimes it was rerolls and things like that.
Hilarious.
All right. Dan, why don't you take the Merchant Prince?
Merchant Princely, and of course, all weapons possessed by a warlord with this trait gain the Mastercrafted special rule. Before any models are placed on the battlefield as part of deployment, the controller player of this warlord may select a single unit under their control, designated as the Lifeguard unit. The Lifeguard unit subtype and all models in the Lifeguard unit gain the Heavy unit subtype.
You skipped the line.
Pardon me. No,
Yep.
what did I?
Yup.
Player under this control.
They have to be militia unit subtype.
Oh,
and then
sorry, I
they
didn't
gain
even.
heavy.
Wow.
Yep.
And talking about with the militia unit subtype gain heavy unit subtype if they did not already have it, may re-roll all failed to hit rolls of 1 in any phase as part of a reaction. The warlord with this trait must be deployed as part of a lifeguard unit and may not voluntarily leave that unit during play. In addition, any army whose warlord has this trait may make an additional reaction during the opponent's assault phase, as long as you're not removed as a casualty. Okay. So everything you own is mastercrafted.
For one unit.
Yep, for that. No, for him.
The warlord.
Oh,
the
for the warlord.
Just him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
just him. Everything the warlord owns is mastercrafted, and his lifeguard unit gets heavy and reroll ones, but only on reactions.
Well, no, so
No.
that tells you.
Hit rolls of 1 in any phase or as part of a reaction.
Or as part of reaction. So it is. Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
makes it a lot better in my. Okay. No, I like this. It's neat. It's actually neat.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit.
I don't know the ability of this army necessarily in close combat, but I think at least for shooting, okay, he gets a command squad essentially, a heavy command squad that gets to reroll ones. You can make that a maybe hopefully a decent shooting unit, or like I said, maybe some close combat units. But we know you'll get the numbers because in this you have some ways to get some very big squads. Your basic troops come in 20s, so and some of them can go a lot higher. So you can absolutely just bowl someone over with weight of dice.
I'll put it this way. People have been chatting in our local group chats about maybe using their Napoleonics collections. And no one has a Napoleonics collection of under 200 bottles.
That's very true. Actually, that's not a bad way to do it. Take this with like a squad of like I think Levy, you can take like 50 guys in a squad. It's ridiculous because they're like 2 points a bro.
Yup.
I'm not saying that would be good, but that would be funny because everyone who's going to swing might not have the best numbers, but I'm going to reroll a bunch of dice.
Oh, no.
All right. Steve, why don't you tell us about Beloved of the People?
Yeah, because it's all about me. So, Beloved of the People. If during any player's turn, a model of this warlord trait is moved as a casualty, yeah, you gotta lose your warlord for this. All other friendly models in the same detachment gain +1 weapon skill and strength, and gain Feel No Pain 4 up until the end of the warlord's controlling player's next player turn. In addition, if you have the trait, you get an extra reaction during the shooting phase as long as he's not removed as a casualty. If he is removed, you make an additional action in the assault phase instead. So you take your warlord and you just try to get him unalived in the most expedient way possible the turn you need him to. It's only for the player turn and a half ish that you get the effect for. I think this is a case of ABC, always be charging. Just
Yes.
Mhm.
force him into combats until he dies.
And you don't lose your reaction. It changes the extra reaction, but you still get it. Unlike one of these other ones, a lot of these other ones where if they go away, they're just gone forever. You still have it. You just switch where it is. I like that. That one is at least very fun. So far these guys are fun. I just wouldn't want to have this many models. My back would hurt. Would hurt way, way too bad.
It's
All right.
called movement trays and those little sticks you always see in the old war movies. I know there's a
Or, I
Yes.
name
mean,
for them. I
okay, so I
know
don't know
there's a
if they,
name for them.
I'm sure
I
there's, yeah.
don't know if they sell them anymore, but I'm thinking,
I've
oh
seen
God,
them in
Dave,
stores still,
no,
but I
no,
don't know if it's
not
current.
that. Remember the old Apocalypse movement
That's
trays?
exactly what I was talking about. I've seen them in stores, but I don't know if
Yeah,
they still do it.
I have a
Honestly,
bunch in my house actually, which is funny.
um, you could use movement trays from Conquest. Those will fit a 25 millimeter base inside of them. And you can move 4 miles at a time that way. Or if you find the old Lord of the Rings ones, it's a similar deal. I think you fit 4 miles in those.
I've been checking
Hmm.
the
Does the store still
provenance.
sell those Apocalypse ones?
Yeah.
I wonder.
I mean, our stores might locally because they have old stock, but GW does not currently manufacture those.
Yeah.
That's a shame. They were really cool. I did like them a lot.
Oh my god.
I didn't like the price point.
No,
They
the
were
price point
cheap.
was very high. No,
Weren't
they
they
weren't.
like $20 for like a million of them?
It was
Not
20
for a
bucks for
million.
like 5.
Yeah.
It's like 2 squads could get moved faster for 20 bucks. It was not a great ratio.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
All right. Dan, why don't you take Marcher Lord? Because I want Robber Baron because it
Yes.
sounds cool.
Yeah, Robert Baron's cool. Marcher Lord is cool. I don't think we got to the Beastman yet one. I think
Uh,
Marcher Lord's the Beastman one for me. Well, not Beastman. Beastman is like his provenance. That's I should say that it's the. But there's a Warlord trait that goes really well with. That's why. All right,
all
so
right.
Marcher Lord. A warlord with this trait gains battle hardened one special rule, and if the army they are part of includes only detachments with the Imperialis militia faction, then all friendly units are immune to the effects of the Sphere special rule. Okay, that's really good, very specific, but very good.
Hmm,
Furthermore, as long as the warlord with this trait has not been removed as a casualty, the first pinning test made by the controlling player in any game turn is automatically successful without the dice being rolled, and I believe he makes an additional reaction
in
in
shooting
the
phase.
shooting phase. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So he gets battle hardened. So it makes him probably strength 8 to kill him. Let me see here. And the first pinning test. That's
Yeah.
pretty damn good. That's all
That
really good bit.
part's better than the fear part because I don't find there's tons and tons of fear. It can happen. This army cares about it, but the pinning might be a
Here's an
little more
odd
common.
question. Here's an odd question. That psychic power that you guys have, right?
Yes,
The
it's a pinning test.
It's a pinning test?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
It causes you to take a pinning test at some amount of minus depending on the dice rolls you get.
Now,
Okay.
consider, Dan, it has to be the first in that phase.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
the psychic
I just
test
here.
would just end up then being the second thing to cause pitting that phase because it's the more reliable thing.
Yeah.
So you have like a rotor cannon shot or like a Scorpius shot to get the freebie out of the way, and then you do the psychic test that absolutely rocks their world.
You know, I would like it more if you got to choose when you pass the pinning.
No, that they usually don't want to do that because that is, stronger. Because you would save it for the one that's going to has the most shell shock or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. But
No,
interesting on
still
that.
cool though. Still neat.
All right, Steve. How about these curios?
Yeah. So we have the Connoisseur of Alien Curios. Once per game turn, at the start of any game turn, the controlling player of a warlord with this trait may choose to activate an artifact. If the option is chosen, roll once in the table below. Yeah, that's right. We're going wild with this one.
Yeah,
So on a
we're
1,
going
which
nuts.
might be my favorite result, honestly, um,
Oh, the
the
first one.
Warlord,
Yeah.
yep, the Warlord suffers 1 automatic wound with the instant death special rule, with no armor saves, cover saves, or damage mitigation rolls allowed, though invulnerable saves may be taken as normal. All other units with at least 1 model within 12 inches of the Warlord, including the unit the Warlord was part of, suffer d6 plus 1 hits at Strength 8, AP 4. These hits are allocated by the user's controlling player, may be allocated to the Warlord, and can cause morale checks where appropriate. This, to my understanding, represents a virus grenade
Yeah,
Yeah.
going off in your hand.
that it
Um,
sounds like it to me.
and then next up, if you roll 2 to 3, it's the same effect, but you don't hurt yourself. Instead, what you do is you must nominate one unit, friendly or enemy, within 12 inches and line of sight of the Warlord. They take d6 plus 1 hit at strength 8, 8b4, with deflagrate. If no other unit can be nominated, then the Warlord must take the hits. You're sensing a theme here, right? On a 4 to 5, the Warlord and everyone in the unit gains Rage 2 and Furious Charge 2 for the game turn.
Oh my god.
Well, that's kind of tasty, right? And then if you happen to roll a 6, you gain Eternal Warrior and feel no pain 4 up on the Warlord for the rest of the battle. If you roll it again, you also get +1 strength and toughness, and it's cumulative up to 3 more times. Sorry, essentially up to 3 more times.
Yeah.
If you, the more times you roll it, the more stats you increase, up to a maximum of 6 in those stats.
My
I don't know
goodness.
what that represents. That must be some real good combat drugs or something. But
He's taking the good
yeah,
shit.
he just starts throwing virus grenades around. Sometimes he
Yeah, pretty
accidentally just
much.
just gets swole as all hell. It's fun. I love this trait. It's absolutely hilarious. And finally, if your warlord hits this trait and he's alive, you get an extra movement phase reaction.
The most meh part of that is the movement phase extra
Uh,
reaction.
I do like movement phase reactions. I
Eh,
that I will say no because so I learned because we were doing the dual doubles tournament right
yeah.
event and I was using the Blood Angels reaction for because so these don't get extra ones right. So we were doing I used the Blood Angels extra movement and having my 2 tanks move away from a charge really really good. So I
Yeah,
will.
I'm just thinking the amount that you're going to flood the board with for this army because of how cheap your models are and how many you're going to need. I'm not going to have anywhere to go. I can't get away. I have a blob of a minimum 20, 30 guys. I'm not going anywhere useful.
It's not. I'm thinking more for the vehicles. I'm thinking more because what are vehicles? Let me just scroll down
My
for five
my people
seconds.
are in the way of my vehicles. If you get to my vehicles, I've lost the game.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Dude,
Remember, in
that's a very good
custodes, it's
point.
different. Custodes, you have a few units, so
That's
your
true.
vehicles are a large portion. Here, I'm worried about my vehicles. I could literally string a line across the whole board of
Across
units.
the
Like,
lengthways.
yeah. So this one is just fun. This one is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not mad if I roll that one. You're gone, but like you took this knowing there was a chance that you would just explode. That's great. All right, Robber Baron, the last one they have here. All models in a unit that has the Warlord with this trait gain a +1 to their strength for the duration of any player turn in which they charge, but you may not make a sweeping advance that turn. However, when such a unit would otherwise be eligible to make that sweeping advance, the controlling player said rolls a die on a 4, 5, or 6. The controlling player gets D3 victory points. In addition, an army, they get one in the movement phase. Okay, that's fine. So, yeah, you are just like, you're robbing them. So you get +1 strength when you charge in. You can't sweep, but if I win the combat, you get to get away and I steal your riches as you do on a 4, 5, or 6. Um, Most missions, I find the victory points are very low. There might be a mission or two where it's like you get a victory point for everything that you destroy, but in general, victory points are usually pretty low in the game. So having an option +1 strength, which is useful because you guys tend to be strength 3, so now you can actually reliably wound, and 50-50 chance that if I win, you get D3 victory points. You get that once. That could be what wins you the game if you happen to roll a 2 or 3 on that. So this is both, that one is both fun, and I think it actually can be good if you put the guy in the right unit and you
Mm-hmm.
charge things that you can beat.
This is what you take if you have horses.
Mm,
If you're
very
in a
true.
horse build, you take this one, I think.
Horse build.
I agree. Plus 1 strength on that. You have the mobility to be able to hit what you want. You had the ability to charge, because you can kind of move a bit quicker. Yeah, I think that's a really good one, and it's very fitting. Just put your guy up like he's from the Wild West or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know they get the rig hauler. Just put that make a stagecoach. There you go.
The rig hauler for them is what did GW say you can use?
The cargo 8 from Necromunda.
Yeah, cargo 8.
That's right. Yes.
the cargo 8 hauler.
It's not that dissimilar from a Chimera with certain options taken. So if you have Chimeras, no one will give you a hard time for using them.
No, use that or 3D print a wagon.
Or Tonka trucks if they're an appropriate size and shape.
Absolutely, that would actually work.
Like anything. If
someone comes to the fucking
carry
match
people.
Someone comes to the fucking match with Paw Patrol. Like Paw Patrol vehicles.
Oh, I understand the idea of the Paw Patrol. I don't have kids, so I do that. Or what's the one with a whole bunch of animals and shit who drive around?
That's Paw Patrol.
No, nothing of Paw Patrol. No, Mr. Someone's. He's a worm. Like one of the main dudes is a worm. He drives an apple.
Kids these days don't remember that.
But we're not making this show for kids. Bunch of the people who listen to us have kids. They would know.
Wait, what are you talking? Now I'm pause. Back up. What fever dream show is this?
It was a book.
No, but they had a show. They had a full-on show.
Wait,
did it?
I remember a book about the
I remember the books.
The Peach. It was like Johnny and the Peach or some nonsense.
No, you're thinking James and the Giant Peach, and no, I'm not talking James and the Giant Peach.
It's the busy world of Richard Scarry.
There it is. Yeah, there was a show.
What?
No, James and the Giant Peach, they also did do a movie as well. But yeah, Richard Scarry. Yeah, look it up. Like a lot of people had it as like there was like a rug for it as well that they made of the town.
What?
Yeah, there was like different animals. It was essentially a variety of animals, and they all they would drive appropriate vehicles and stuff like that, and it would teach kids, I don't know, probably to be good people or something, like any children's show. But yeah, no, that's a legitimate thing.
That's hilarious. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, that was like very popular. I don't know exactly when, but I have some nephews. They're older than your kid, but maybe that was the time it was popular. But all right. Is any favorite Warlord traits other than Connoisseur of Alien Curios? Because which I kind of like Robber Baron the most.
The Curio one is though really, really fun. Like that's probably the one I would use the most.
Here's a worm and an apple. I remember this. Hilda Hippo, Sally
I want to Google this.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, the busy world of Richard Scarry. The busy world.
Busy world
of Richard Scarry. Scarry. Scary with 2 R's.
Yeah,
it was in the 90s.
I've never seen this.
65 episodes.
And I grew up in the 90s. What was it on like PBS?
Probably. They probably didn't have this station in Cuba.
What the fuck? I watch TV. Like I watched Saturday morning cartoons. That hippo looks. Wait! Oh,
yeah, you do remember, don't you? Told you. Hilda Hippo.
Oh my god! Why is this? Okay,
just you can almost hear the memories flooding back into it.
Yeah, this is. I
was there, Gandalf, 10,000 years ago.
Years ago. Why does this? It looks like. Let me tell you. It's the weird. What's the case where you think it looks like something, but it's maybe spelled the wrong way?
The Mandela effect.
Yeah, the Mandela. I feel like this is a Mandela effect. It's got to be because it looks familiar, but I swear to God, I've never watched this guy.
Berenstein and Berenstain is Mandela effect. Also, I think it's 5,000 years.
It might be 3.
Or is it 3,000? Maybe it's been so. I gotta watch Lord of the Rings again. It's been so long, I can't remember that.
We're all fake nerds.
Pretty much.
We're getting our license revoked.
Yelling at the guy, yelling at the YouTube. Oh man.
Oh, I'm gonna hear.
I might actually. You're right. It might be 3,000 years. I don't know. Maybe. I have off for like the next 2 months, so maybe I'll sit down and
10,000 years is the genie.
Yes,
that's
genie's 10,000. He's 3. Yeah,
I think Elrond is 3.
I believe he says 3 if memory serves. It may not though. I'm getting older. My memory's crap.
Yeah, it's 3,000.
You guys are goddamn 3,000.
Yes.
Surrounded by nerds.
All right. Units wise, so we're gonna talk the Force Commander. Then we're gonna get into the Muster of Worlds, and then we'll talk about the other guys, because the Force Commanders who let you take this.
Yep.
But for the units, the 4 units, does anyone have a particular one they want to talk about?
So we're going through what? Just the HQ?
Yeah, just the HQ, because the Muster of Worlds is going to take time.
Yeah, I think the Muster of Worlds could be the entire thing. The Rogue Psyker. See, I'll take the Rogue Psyker. He
Okay.
seems kind of cool.
You
take him.
Yeah, because I got one really funny thing you could do with it. It's not good, but it's funny, and that's the entire point of this list.
I mean, screw it. I'll take
I
the
agree.
Force Commander.
Right.
I'll take. Yeah, I'll just start with the Force Commander,
Right.
and we can go from there.
He is up first. Then go for it.
Yep. All right. So, Imperialis Militia Force Commander, 100 points. Weirdly enough, it's 100 points for. Is it for both the mounted and the? I'm just going to scroll down real quick. No, okay, so it's 120 for the mounted, 100 for the non-mounted. Okay, I was going to say that's a really weird, like, same points value. Anyway, so you can take him not mounted or mounted. If you do not mount him, he is movement 6, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, 3 wounds.
Yeah.
He's actually beefy. Initiative 3, 3 attacks, leadership 8, and a 5-up save. And the mounted commander, I think, is exactly the same, except he gets 14 move, which is, damn, he's fast.
He's on a horse.
Yeah. And you could use, by the way, GW did come out and say this, which is, I love this. You absolutely can use the new Imperial Guard stuff for this. In fact, I believe in one of their Warhammer community articles, which I'm not going to pull up because I do believe in one of their Warhammer community articles, they were like, hey, we push this back a little bit just so we can, like,
sell more Lord Leontis.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. I didn't want to be mean, but yeah.
Well, but they also did just come out with another unit of horses.
Yes,
not even just the leader. They also did brand new. Yeah.
But I just wanted to put that out that you could use that. They do allow you to. Anyway, so the Force Commander comes with a las pistol or auto pistol, a refractor field, so 5-up invul. Also, he's 5-up save, 5-up invul. Who cares?
Yes.
Frag grenades, crack grenades, basic low combat weapon, flak armor. He's an invented character, the Muster of Worlds, which
that means he could take the muster.
Yep, he could take the muster.
Yeah, he's the only one who can.
Providence, which I think
it means he's affected by the muster.
Yes.
So, because everyone else gets it automatically.
For options, he has the gambit of options. You could give him power fist, power weapon, plasma pistol, hand flamers, needle pistol, blast pistol, charnable weapon, chainsword, bolt pistol. All pretty cool options. You can give him melt bombs. You can give him a cyber familiar. Wait, can you also give him fuck me, he can take Iron Halo. So another 3-up invul over Custodian. All right, nice. So that is right now, Mechanicum, Solar Ox, and the goddamn Peon can take a 3-up invul, but a Custodian who protects the Emperor.
Hey, he isn't a Peon. He owns a planet, sir.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. So
how many Custodians own planets?
Take a Cyber Familiar. He can take Carapace Armor. He could even be in Power Armor. John's going to love that. John owns an Imperial Guardsman in Power Armor from like before I was born. It's like you could touch the lead, but no, I don't think he noticed that. He could also take an Iron Halo. He could be a mounted Force Commander, which means he gains the Militia Cavalry mounted war gear on page 37. So someone skip to 37 real quick, so I don't have to, so I can keep reading. That means he also gets Relentless, Scout, and Hammer of Wrath, and he becomes Cavalry. And he can take the Militia Lance if he's mounted for another 5 points. What does he change war gear wise if he's on a horse, by the way?
So
if he's on a horse, if he runs, he gets Shrouded 5-up.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. And then he counts as cavalry for any other purposes, but that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing too crazy.
And finally, one last bullet point.
Yes.
If he's on a horse, he can take a lance.
I said that already.
Oh, sorry. I was
reading. Said it again. We're making sure.
That one I got.
That's the most important thing because it's cool as all heck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it's cool.
You need him for Muster of Worlds, which is what makes your army work. So you're taking this guy. Yeah, you get to decide, is he 100-point tax, or are you going to put some stuff on him, make him more expensive, but then he has a job to do.
Honestly, when you say more expensive, though, okay, let's load him out real quick. He's 100 points. Let's make him mounted 120. Iron Halo 140. That's 150. So 150 for 3-up invul. Screw it, give him a Power Fist. 165. That's not.
No, I'm not saying he's
Yeah.
expensive to do that way. I'm just saying you either look at this guy as a tax or as an army piece. If he's a tax, he's 100 points to get your cool rules. Otherwise, you would want to put a decent amount of stuff on him to get him to do a job.
Yeah.
Because base, he's not going to do one. But you can pretty quickly tack on not too much, or at least not spending too much to get something pretty good out.
Now remember,
And
Dan, when you spend 40 points on this guy, that's 20 less models you're bringing to the table.
Jesus Christ.
yeah, they're cheap.
Oh my God.
They're very, very cheap. And we did talk about some of those warlord. If you keep them cheap, I said there's one of those warlord traits you kind of want to go away.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that militia lance, strength 7, AP 3. It's melee, of course. It's ungainly, brutal 2, sudden strike 2, and two-handed. Remember, ungainly just means that you only get one attack because you got your lance coming in. But that's not bad if you actually have a unit full of guys with that. I like that. Yeah, this guy's he's necessary for the one piece. You're going to take him. Just decide what you want to do with him. I do like him leading one of the mounted units, though. I think that's a really great way to use him. All right. So that now lets us go into the muster of worlds. So now we can start discussing these. Now there's a lot of options here. Some will be pretty fast. We're going to go through these now, even though we haven't talked about all the units, because one, they kind of say it's the right way to do it. And also, it's going to make more sense when we talk about the units. We'll reference this back. Now, if you have a force commander, you get 2 provinces. As says, unless otherwise noted, the effects apply to any and all units in the same detachment with the Militia unit subtype. Some of these will apply to some of the other types of units you have. They will say so if they do. If they disclude any particular units, they will say so. So these are very specific as you see, as you read them, and hopefully everything is covered well. Yes. So I guess we'll just start round robbing our way through these. And like we said, this is for your militia unit subtypes. These are
Yep.
for your regular
I
guys.
will take, though,
Okay.
where's the Beastman? It's at the very end. I think
yeah.
it's Feral Warriors? Yeah, it's Feral
Probably.
Warriors. Yep.
All right. Yeah, certain provinces allow you to get special equipment or special. They tell you exactly what they let you do. So I'll start with Warrior Elite. All eligible units and models get +1 to the leadership characteristic to a maximum of 9. Imperialis military levy squads in this detachment with this province gain the support squad special rule, and all Imperialis militia grenadier squads in the detachment with this province lose the support squad. So that means you can take grenadiers then as your mandatory choice, and levies lose the ability to be the mandatory choice. Levies are the really cheap guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you can take an obscene amount of these guys. So your grenadiers,
Those
they're a
are
pretty standard unit.
those are more veteran troops. They have proper equipment, proper armor.
Yeah, leadership 7s and 6s. Yeah, your levy squad starts at 20 guys, and you can go up to 30 more, up to 30 additional. So these guys are with Alaska and flak armor. This is your bottom of the barrel guys essentially. So they are they become support. It's useful if you're building your army in a very particular way. I think that helps, and the bonus to leadership is good because the leadership in this is obviously bad. The leadership across the board is bad. Your general guys are like 6s. If they're veteran or better, they get to like a 7. So useful. You do get 2. Let's see some other ones. I guess maybe Dan will take the next one. We'll just spin that way until we get to one someone wants in particular.
Yeah, I'll take theirs. Legacy of the Great Crusade. All Imperial Militia Grenadier squads, command cadres, discipline masters in the detachment with the Providence increase their ballistic skill by +1 to a maximum of 4. A force commander in the detachment with this Providence increases his initiative to 5. Ooh.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty neat. Initiative 5 is pretty quick.
What ballistic skill 4 is pretty good.
4
Now
is
you're
very
actually
nice,
hitting on 3s instead of 4s.
Yeah. These are your better units. These are your more veteran ones, so makes sense.
All right, I'll take the next one, Clanfolk Levy. So, this is how you get all the horsies. You may choose to fill your compulsory troops only with Imperialis Militia cavalry squads. Um, and all the ones selected as compulsory troops gain +1 to the leadership characteristic. But you do not take them as non compulsory troops, only as the standard compulsory troops. In addition, a detachment with this provenance may include up to 4 additional fast attack choices, but they may only be used to select Imperialis Militia cavalry squads. Notice they do not gain line,
No.
but adding 4 extra slots even applies if it's an allied detachment. So if you want to have white scars along with like 100 horses, you can.
Yeah. Yeah, this is how you're just going to get this is how you make your horse army if you really want one because they start off cheap, 5 of them for 50 points and all. And this is a spot where you can get some special weapons as well, so you can get a lot of small horse squads if you want, or can make them bigger. You can go up to 15, Dan's favorite number. You get to squads of
15
15.
is not bad. I like
Yeah.
15.
And again, they are cheap. So, all right. That puts it to me for Gene Crafted. So far, decent options. Legacy of the Great Crusade so far, I like the most, we'll say. Once all models have been deployed, but before the beginning of anyone's turn, the controlling player rolls once for each unit that contains any eligible models on the table. So if you're taking this one, it's a D6 table with 3 options. So you need some sort of token to mark because it's each unit. Yeah, you roll once for each unit. So first one, the unit begins the battle pinned. It overrides any rule that would allow them to ignore it, such as being cavalry or one of the Lord of War traits. If the unit is embarked on a model that transports it, then it must make an immediate emergency disembarkation and then gets pinned. If you're
Oh
in reserve,
no.
you ignore the effect. So on a 1, you just start pinned, even if you naturally could not be allowed to be pinned. You are pinned. Remember, this stuff naturally affects militia units, so that's why they don't have to worry about not counting vehicles. It only counts vehicles on anything if it specifically says so. 2 to 5, so the most likely option. All eligible models in the unit with the infantry or cavalry rule gain 1 of the following special rules. So you better have a stack of things to put down to know which one's which. They get it for the whole battle, either Fleet 2, Move Through Cover, or Night Vision. Night Vision is great for your units that can take some special weapons, because then you're going to be ignoring Shrouded. Fleet 2 is great, especially say on some of your cav options, Move Through Cover. So some reasonably good choices. 6, all eligible models in the unit that are infantry or cavalry gain 1 of the following special rules for the duration of the battle. So you could either be Relentless, Stubborn, Adamantium Will 6 up, or all the special rules in that 2 to 5 result, so they can have Fleet 2, Move Through Cover, and Night Vision. I would have some concern about rolling 1s, but I have so many units. I'm going to roll a few. If you build an army that wants some of these special rules, then I think this feels like a pretty good option. And if some are pinned, that's you have so many units, that's okay. Get a couple pinned. All right. But you're up next for the Cyber Augmentics.
Yes. Augmentics. All eligible units and models. All eligible units and models gain the Feel No Pain 6 up, and the slow and purposeful special rule.
Terrible.
Terrible. This providence may not be chosen in conjunctions with the gene crafted providence, and any detachment with this providence is treated as a sworn brothers by any detachment with the Mechanicum faction in the same army. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
They cybernetically
Imperial
augmented you.
Knights are an example of Mechanicum faction.
yeah.
In theory, you could try to combo some Warlord traits with this to get to ally weird combinations. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm not thrilled about something on a toughness 3 having a 6 up Feel No Pain. You'll get it. I'm not saying you won't ever get it. But the slow and purposeful, that hurts. I don't know. If you're taking mechanical, maybe this is a good option for you to look at.
At least you get the 6-up versus a bolter. You don't get a 5-up versus a bolter. So it's
That is true.
something.
Yeah. All right. Steve has Alchem Jackers.
Oh yeah, this one I used a lot last edition, so let's see what changed. All units with this provenance do not suffer negative modifiers or leadership characteristic in the assault phase. Nice. And, in addition, if less than half have been removed as casualties, and a morale check made for it due to casualties in the shooting phase has failed, they become pinned instead of falling back. This is good. If more than half have been removed as casualties, they must fall back as normal. I assume that's half based off the starting number and not based off
Yes.
the round.
I would assume starting number at all times, yeah.
And then you get an extra option for all your units. All models in any unit's provenance can be upgraded to have the Furious Charge 1 special rule for 25 points per unit. So that's another way to get a little bit of extra strength on your combat units. So they push forwards, they're less likely to fall back, and they get more
Yeah,
strength
pretty
on the
much.
charge. It's something that I used to toy with a lot last edition.
And these are really cheap units. So extra 25 points on a pretty cheap unit is you're not going to be breaking the bank in any way. So that's pretty neat. All right. Survivors of the Dark Age. Imperialis, Militia, Grenadier Squad. So they can take some special weapons, essentially. And Imperialis Militia Command Cadres. So they're an HQ unit that gets some special weapons abilities. With this provenance, may either take a Legion Rhino transport, a Termite Assault Drill, or a Land Raider Proteus Carrier as a dedicated transport, so long as they number 10 models or less. That part hurts a little bit, but because how squishy you can be. Obviously, look at the Legion books for it. They gain the 3rd unit subtype, and their ballistic goes down to 3. So if you're taking these units and you want them in Rhinos, Termite Assault Drills, and for one of the battle reports coming out, me and Steve went against each other, and he had Termite Assault Drills, and Termite Assault Drills are good. That's absolutely
Yes,
a
they
very
are.
good option. The Proteus seems like overkill, but still good. Option is Void Jumpers. All models in an Imperialis Militia Reconnaissance Squad may be upgraded to have militia jetpacks, and replace all weapons with 2 last pistols or 2 auto pistols at 20 points per unit. Any Discipline Masters, Militia, Medicae, and any other models, so any models that get assigned there before deployment, may be given them at no additional cost. So independent characters don't count, but if it's a unit that you assign, much like you do, I said your Medicaes and stuff like that, they get them. And they cannot take any heavy weapons. So when we take a look at these reconnaissance guys, there we are. So essentially long lads and like sniper rifles, they don't get any of the big guns. They get these lighter guns that they have to switch out to. The 2 last pistols are auto pistols. For their jump pack, it's a move 12 or jetpack. They say my apologies, moves 12. But dangerous as normal. They may still run. Yeah, otherwise it's a jump pack with a move of 12. That's all.
It's a really cool option. I
Yes.
don't know if it's good because you're stuck at a 5-up armor save, which is kind of pants, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
How much is a Termite Assault Drill?
80 points.
80?
Does that come with the Volkite or no?
That's with Bolter default. You always have the Meltas. The Volkite's extra 5 points, I think. Maybe 10. It's a pretty
I
cool
mean, I'm more thinking
option.
about it for the Meltas personally. That's kind of what I like. I'm not saying the other option is bad because we're talking about, like, if you look at the Grenadier, okay, they start at 10. These are guys who, because up to 2 of them can swap out for weapons like melta guns or plasma guns and all. So this is a way to do that. Keep the squad a little bit cheaper, maybe, and put some different guns on them, shotguns or even bolt guns for 2 points or something like that. Heavy stubbers. So I do like this one. I think the Void Jumpers is funny. I don't know if I would necessarily do that, but your reconnaissance could use that. Let me just look at the reconnaissance real fast. They're 5 guys. They can go up to 10 guys. Essentially 5 points a guy. They have scout, infiltrate, move through cover. Yeah, you could just try to lay a bunch of shots on someone at short range early. I like it for the termite assault drills. The Proteus just feels like I'm spending too many points. But all right, that goes to wait. Which one is it that you wanted, Dan? The Feral Warriors.
Yeah, the Feral Warriors.
Okay, so Steve, do you want to take the Armory of Old Night then? That
Sure,
will.
I'll take this one. This is a nice one.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot. Let's scroll back to it because I was gonna click some stuff. Okay. Army of Old Night. All right, you can upgrade. First thing, all models with this provenance that are eligible can replace las guns with lad rifles for free. Now you don't have the close order subtype, so you're not moving and shooting those las rifles with any kind of accuracy. So just be mindful which units you put it on, which ones you don't. As an option, you get relic arms. Eligible models in grenadier squads and command cadres may upgrade las guns, either Volkite chargers or assault needlers. You may upgrade las pistols to Volkite serpentas or needle pistols, and you may upgrade sniper rifles to needle volnus and heavy stubbers to Volkite culverins. Oh my god! Or needle cannons for 30 points per unit. You upgrade the unit's weapons for 30 points, regardless of the number of models or types of weapons upgraded in a given unit. The Volkite option is pretty solid. The Needlers actually are not that bad either. I think it's the only
No,
way
they're
you
good
get
in
Needlers
this.
as well, so it's worth popping over to that real fast, running you through it.
Yeah.
So they have their own category, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
the Needle Pistol is range 12, strength 2, pistol 2, poison 3 up pinning. Guess what? This is how you get around the fact that Astartes are tougher than you. Assault Needler, range 18, strength 2 again. Assault 3, poison 3 up pinning. Needle Cannon, range 24, strength 2, heavy 4, poison 3 up pinning. Needle Volnus, range 48, strength 2, heavy 2, poison 2, breaching 6, pinning, and sniper. These are not bad guns. I dare say they are even good.
I think they're very good in this army.
Now, you have to keep in mind, this is only on your Grenadier squads and your command
Cadre.
cadres? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're spamming 50-man units of this stuff. But if you have a couple 20-man squads of Grenadiers, it's not a bad shout on them. 30 points to get a lot of shots with pinning. I'd take that.
You're getting reliable damage out because you're at least poison on either 3 or a 2 for the Volnus, which is essentially the sniper rifle. You have a shot at pinning people, which I think is really important in an army like this because you don't want people fighting you. You win this battle by having too many for them to get through or them not being able to enact their plan. So if you can pin even a unit in a round, that's huge.
Yup. And even the Volkite option is great because the Volkite Serpenta's 2 shots.
Yes.
So if you have this paired up with the jump guys, that's 4 shots a guy at strength 5 with the flag rate, or with poison 3 up and pinning. So this pairs really nicely with the survivors. If you remember last edition, this is essentially survivors split into 2 parts. It had a part where you gained the vehicles and a part where you gained higher tier weapons. It's now 2 sections because it was such an obvious pick before. Now it's a little less obvious exactly what you want to do because you're giving up other stuff. And then we also have the Heirlooms of Past Glory, a Force Commander in a detachment that's Providence. Make sure you a power weapon for a Paragon Blade or a last pistol for an Archaeotech pistol. Either of these options are 10 points.
The Paragon Blade is good for 10 points. Is really good here if your guy is anywhere where he wants to be in combat. I mean, there's at least a way to get AP to close combat.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're not having it otherwise. And because the Paragon's what, +1 strength?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, for as cheap as it is, getting at initiative, AP2, and instant death on a 6, that's, I like that. If you're taking Army of Old Night, I think that, to me, I take that upgrade for him and just, see if it ever happens.
Fun. Just have fun.
Yeah, you got points to play with, so.
Yeah, needle cannons are fun, though. I saw, there's a guy, Peter, who plays Sisters of Silence, and he uses a lot of needle guns because Sisters of Silence are known for their needle guns and needle cannons. Ugh, they do work. Between the poisoned and the just sheer amount of shots and the pinning, it's just oof. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Now, this one feels very strong. If you want to take those units, if you want to be able to shoot your opponent down, this feels like a very strong option for you. All right. Dan, why don't you tell us about Feral Warriors?
Yay, Beastmen. So if you ever wanted to play Beastmen in Heresy, this is how you do it. So, and for those who don't know the joke, so there are actual stories of Beastmen Militia Guard that are loyalist and also chaos. Mostly because the Beastmen were mutants. They were abhumans, essentially. Some fell to chaos and some actually fought for the Emperor. So, fun side fact. Anyway, these are Feral Warriors. All eligible units and models gain a bonus of +1 to their weapon skill characteristic for the duration of any player turn in which they make a successful charge. And I think most people are weapon skill 3, so this might boost them. I'm not sure. Anyone, just do me a favor. Just check to see if anyone's weapon skill 4. I don't know. I'll keep
The
reading.
leader is, of course.
Okay. However, an eligible unit that begins the controlling player's assault phase within 12 inches or more of an enemy unit must have a charge declared for it, though the controlling player may choose the target of the charge. So you always be charging, basically. ABC. Always be charging. However, the cool part about this is any model eligible to benefit from this providence may upgrade a basic close combat weapon to a chain axe for 2 points or a chain sword for 1 point. That's
Ogrins
pretty
are
neat.
weapon skill 4.
Oh, so we got weapon skill 5 on the charge.
And they have the rule militia, so this would affect them.
Yep.
Ooh.
And their strength 5 base will go to 6 with a chain axe.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. And wait, what do you mean ogrins? Don't you mean bulgors?
No,
Yeah,
they're ogre. It's an ogre and brute squad.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is you could use the bulgor models for this.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
If you're going full beastman.
Never
Yeah,
go
this is-
full beast, man.
Yeah, you always go full beastman.
You need discipline
always go-
masters to put shock collars on them. Keep them in line.
Always go full moo moo.
Yeah.
No, I love this. This is great.
That's literally about the only thing that is weapon skill 4, though, other than like
Yeah,
a
I know.
character or stuff like that.
Yeah. I just went through everything. That's the only one.
Yeah.
All right. Still love it though.
Oh, yeah. No, this is, I think, one of the very, very viable options. All right. So I
Feral
guess,
Warriors backed up by tanks is pretty cool.
Yeah, so this whole spot here is all of the essentially abhuman or close abhuman stuff, because the next one is kinfolk helots, which are, and as it says, an acceptable level of mutation. That's what the thing says. This is the acceptable level. All eligible units and models receive an increase of +1 to their toughness, but also lower their initiative and movements by -1 to a minimum of 1. If you're move 0, you're not affected or anything like that. All eligible models in the detachment with this providence and the character unit subtype gain the Battlesmith 6-up special rule, or if they have the independent character special rule, they get Battlesmith 5-up. Excuse me. You cannot take this in conjunction with Ogre and Conscript's Providence, which we are going to get to. So they don't let you do this with essentially your other Ogre bonuses.
But
so
this
that
will
way,
apply to Ogrins.
Yes.
Taken normally. So
Yes.
you'll have toughness 6 Ogrins with this. Oh my.
Yeah. The other one's going to let you take them as like troops and stuff like that. So you don't get troops, toughness 6 troop Ogrins. That's what this thing stops.
Yeah. But if you're a fan of stunties and you're not a fan of the nerf they are allegedly receiving in 10th edition, guess what? I got a gift just for you.
Oh, poor Gavin. Oh, that's
yeah.
I felt sorry though.
It was real.
Yeah.
For what? I'm sorry?
So, a slight side note for those who are looking at the 10th edition releases, right? Like they're previewing all the armies.
Yeah.
They previewed the Votan, and the Votan got. We're not sure.
They
of
were
all the rules.
effectively squatted in terms of viability. They're still in the game, but their viability got completely.
Now, mind you, we only saw like 4 or 5
I
rules. That was last week.
Okay, I might have just missed it.
Yeah,
okay.
Votan was last week. They did Mechanicus today, and I think Eldar are tomorrow. Eldari, sorry.
Okay.
Trademark. Yeah, but they effectively got shit on a little bit because they basically said we got rid of grudgment tokens, and people were like, "What?"
I'm
Well,
okay with it.
it's up in the air to see what do they put in its stead.
Yeah.
So every group has people freaking out about the things they see, and that's understandable. It's tough when you are only told a little bit of something, and
Yes.
some
Drip
people's
feed.
little bits feel a lot better than other people's little bits, which causes concern, and I fully understand that.
I'll put it
Yeah.
this way: the squat little bit they gave us was
Hmm.
for everyone that isn't playing squats. Like, don't worry, you'll get to play past turn 3, turn 2, turn 3. When is it that they really take off? I think it's around there.
Usually, yes.
Because turn 1 they're handing out their tokens. Turn 2 they're using it. Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
All right, Steve, why don't you tell us about these other
Yeah,
abhumans?
the Abhuman
What those
Muster.
do?
This is for Beastmen proper. So all eligible units and models receive an increase of +1 to their strength, but lower their ballistic skill by 1 to a minimum of 1. If they don't already have bulky, they gain bulky too. So good luck getting into transport. All models with Providence and the character subtype gain Hammer of Wrath 1 because they have giant horns on their head or something like that. And if they're independent character or monstrous, they gain Hammer of Wrath 2 instead. You cannot take this with Ogre and Conscripts. This is Beastmen. It literally says in the
Yeah.
fluff blurb, Beastmen.
Yep. I mean,
I don't think there's much else to say. I mean, it's Goat Boys, it's the Bird Boys, it's all the people that are also animals. So this would be a great
yeah,
way to represent your Fenrisians,
yeah.
all your
Goes
Space
very
Wolf neophytes.
goes very well with Kinfolk, the other one we talked about, because you get extra strength after toughness. You're a little slower and don't shoot as well. But if you are going for more of combat, it might take you a little bit longer to get there, but you are going to survive a lot better and actually be able to hurt some people when you get in. I like that.
Alternatively, go Feral Warriors, get another strength off the Chain Axe.
That's what I was gonna say.
And
You go
extra
Feral
weapon skill.
Warriors and Abhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Feral Warriors and Abhuman would be my favorite.
Yeah.
So now your average guy swinging at Strength 5, Weapon Skill 4 with Shred. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's 4s to hit and then 3s rerolling to wound. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. And all it costs is your ability to get inside a tank.
And shoot.
We
Hey,
weren't
if
doing
you
that anyway.
Yeah, we were. I was gonna say.
no 50-50, and then instead you're going to orc types of shooting. It's a difference.
This is also a great way to represent orcs. If you got a ton of boys lying around not doing much.
Yeah. All right. So we're up to Debased Rabble. I like the name of it. Yeah. So they were driven mad by warp infected influences around them. You have to be a
Can you
traitor
guess
to
if they're
take
traitor
this.
or not?
Yeah. All eligible units and models with this province gain the Crusader and Hatred Everything special rule. However, they must always declare a charge targeting an enemy if they're able. Your Grenadier squads may not be taken in attachments which uses this province, and it may not be taken in conjunction with the survivors of the Dark Age. They figure that would just be too strong. So,
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
you don't get Grenadiers for this as well. So, I mean, this I think is only useful if you take it. So, Crusader and Hatred, you want to be in combat, so you want something that helps your combat. The Abhuman Muster, maybe, or Feral Warriors. You since you're already having the charge anyway, get extra weapon skill. You have to take something else that's going to help your combat, because otherwise, this is just going to be a detriment. So, all right. Dan is to Tainted Flesh.
All right, we're getting super chaosy now. This
Oh yeah.
province may only be selected by an army with the traitor allegiance. All eligible units and models receive the Fear 1 and Furious Charge 1 special rule. However, the detachment compulsory troops must be filled by Imperialis militia levy squads, and it may not have more infantry units except HQ choices of other types than it has Imperialis militia levy squads in total. And it gives an example. If you have three, you can have three of another kind, essentially. The only HQ choices the detachment may take may be an Imperialis militia force commander and a militia rogue psyker entry. And you cannot take this with Dark Age, Genecraft, Organ Concepts, or Alchem Jacker Province. Okay.
Yeah.
This does this couple with the warlord trait of another fear one?
So if it's 2 instances of fear at the same tier, they do not stack.
No.
You
God
take
damn it.
the better of fears.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Furious Charge is extra strength, which you pair with your Power Axe, or not Power Axe, Chain Axe or
Chain axe.
whatever. Like, there's combos here too, you know?
Yeah, it's playing again into wanting to do more close combat, or at least with the levy squads, and the levy squads are the ones that you can take
2 points a
just
pop.
tons and tons of. Um,
Kind of
what
have
other
to.
ones did it
Here.
stop? It didn't stop the levy, clanfolk levy.
Oh. So didn't stop Clanfolk
Uh,
Levy? The base
yeah,
rabble.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
Hatred helps a lot with getting those lances to hit. Like a lot.
yes, it
Because they're
does.
only good on the turn you charge. And Hatred's only
Yeah,
good on the turn you charge. So you just really stack it as high as you can that turn. Makes sense to me.
yeah. No, because then you're actually, especially like I said, it's AP3, brutal 2. So if someone's in 3-up saves, you can actually win that combat now. You can really take them down. And I want to say it was Furious Charge. I forget it was 1 or 2. So you could actually, if it's Furious Charge 2, was it Furious Charge 2? Trying to look real fast. Where is it? There it is. Oh, sorry, Sudden Strike 2. So yeah,
Turn you charge plus 2 initiative? Yeah, no.
yeah. That
Um,
means now you're at 5. You're going faster than most of the people in a 3-up save.
it really is the Horus Heresy. The Horus Heresy.
Just talk about Ogre conscripts.
Haha, Ogre Conscripts. You get Militia, Ogre, and Brute Squads as troop choices. If they're compulsory choices, they gain line. So only compulsory, not the others. Discipline Masters, Medicae, and Force Commanders may join the Ogre and Brute Squads, ignoring normal restrictions. And everyone else says they don't work with this. This doesn't list the other ones that doesn't work with it. It doesn't point like it works in both directions with the limitations. It doesn't have all the things keyed in here. So you can't pair this with Fear and Furious Charge. You can't pair this with, the other ones.
Yeah. The Ogre one is the one that's most restricted, but there's still some good close combat style options that you have for this one.
Too bad
Yep.
Dan sold his Ogre army because they would just perfect, just whoosh,
Yeah,
good to
pretty
go.
much.
Yeah. Yeah, those call them feral warriors. You'd have it right there. There's some other ones that actually wouldn't be bad either. That one might be one of the biggest though. All right. Where are we? There we are. All right. Industrial Stronghold. A detachment with this province may include up to 2 additional heavy support choices, but they have to be filled with Lehman Russes. In addition, all militia Lehman Russ units in this detachment gain the following option. Um, an Imperialis militia Lehman Russ unit may include up to 5 more Lehman Russes for 120 points each. You can't take it with Unending Horde, Debased Rabble, Tainted Flesh, or Ogre conscripts. So you can't have an army of just Ogrins and need Lehman Russes. But if you want
Damn
lots
shame.
of Lehman Russes and
Damn
big
shame.
squads of Lehman Russes, then you can do this. Are they naturally
And
squadroned in this?
no, not in this list.
Oh, okay, so this is
And
how you actually take squads then, yeah.
don't forget, this is in addition to the normal force org, which means now you could just bring a casual 18 Lehman Russes in an allied detachment.
Yeah. And they're cheap. So if you want a lot of them or happen to have a lot of them, you can absolutely get this going then. And you can put some good options on them. They have Gravis las cannons, auto cannons. Like you don't have to just stick with the battle cannon. You can vary up to what you want without adding points, or you can add some points.
And they won't give up victory points.
No. All right. That give I don't is there another I
Last
don't know
one.
what yeah, for that one though, the industrial stronghold, I guess you would just the other one you would take would just be like what else you want your army to do. Because none of these other ones really affected vehicles that we saw. So
Yeah,
you got a
pretty
lot
much
of
this
options
is
there.
the I like Lehman Russes button. And the other
Yeah.
thing doesn't really matter. I mean, Lehman Russes plus drills could be funny with survivors. Or if you want Lehman Russes
Mm.
backing up your AdMech, you take Cyber Augmentic, so you have the better ally level. And then your AdMech guys could repair Lehman Russes, I guess. Or you do it with Kinfolk Helots, and your squad sergeants can fix them on a 6. It's not good
Sure.
odds, but at least you get to roll the dice and try.
Yeah. Clan folk, you can take just horses and Lehman Russes, just really get some movement going. But all right, Dan has Unending Horde.
Ooh, and that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
A detachment with the Providence grants the Endless Horde 4+ special rule to all models in the Imperial infantry squads, levy squads, but all Imperial militia grenadier squads can only be selected as an elite choice. So essentially, grenadiers become elite, but this gives it to all militia infantry and levy. So what the hell's Endless Hordes? Oh, is this they come back? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is
When
the
a unit
comeback on 4.
yep, pretty much. When a unit composed entirely of models with a special rule has its last model removed as a casualty, the controlling player may choose to roll a d6 on a result equal to or greater than the value in the bracket. So in this case, 4 plus. A unit identical to that one that was removed as casualties with all models and war games listed in the controlling player's army roster is placed in reserve and treated as a new unit. On any other result, the unit is removed as casualties with no further effect. Any victory points that would be scored for the unit removed as casualties are unaffected and scored as normal, and any new unit that enters reserves may be used to score victory points if also removed as casualties. Furthermore, if a new unit placed in reserves due to this special rule is later removed from play as casualties, it too can be returned to reserves instead of being removed from play using the special.
Hmm.
Oh my god. A unit with the special rule has been joined by a model after during deployment, such as via the Among the Ranks, Mission Militia Medicaid support, or independent character, and is subsequently entirely removed its casualties and then returned to reserves instead of being removed, does not retain the models that have joined it when returned to reserves, such models are casualties and do not return to play.
Yeah, it's just the base unit. None of the
Just
thing,
the base unit.
none of the extra peoples that you put in it.
50-50 shot to bring shit back. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Doesn't work on everything, but it works on some of these units that you want.
Hopefully,
And
you're not playing a kill point mission.
well, that's why they
Pair,
say you may. You don't have to do this.
pair it with Lehman Russes. Here's 100
No,
infantry.
you
Oh, they
can't.
all died.
It specifically says you. Oh,
Oh, yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I
yeah,
missed
the
it.
Lehman Russ one, and also it only works on the infantry squad, which is a troop
Yeah.
Yep.
choice, and the
Oh no,
levy
I know.
squads.
Like
Yeah,
you have a troop tax, you might as well get it back for free. But alas, 'twas not to be.
but for 100 points, you can throw some extra points. But for 100 points, you can have a 50-man squad, a levy squad, and then 50-50 chance that you just bring them back. And the levy squads never give victory points. They have some
And
other stuff, but they never
they
give
have
it to
line,
people.
right? Are they line?
They are not line.
They're
Let's say
I'm
you
not
hold
so
down
worried
like
about
this.
line. You want some line, but most of these missions you don't need much of it.
listen, 50 bodies for 100 points. You don't really need line all that much.
No, I'm not worried about scoring an objective with them. I'm just going to keep you from scoring it. At least that's what I'm going to try and do. All right. I think we know which one Dan's favorite is. That's
Yeah,
clear.
right. Duh.
Yeah. I would probably pick Armory of Old Knight because I like the variety of options that it gives you, and being able to pin and poison weapons I think are really big for what I would want to do with an army. What about you,
I
Steve? Is there any in
I
particular you really like?
struggle so much in this one with the new
There's a
version
lot.
because
Yeah.
everything I want to do is like a 3-thing combo, and you
Yes.
only get 2. Um. Ah, man. So like the idea of putting guys in drills is always something I'm a fan of.
Hmm.
Volkite squad, something I'm always a fan of. Um, in the past, I was really a proponent for the Alchem Jackers, and I still think it's a pretty solid option if you want to have a gunline list, just because it keeps you from falling back, and you put friends on your counter assault units.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard to pick just one though, because like I want to do so many armies based off this, not because they're good, because the ideas are fun.
They do
Um,
that very well, yes. I do looking through this. I don't think you even have to pick one because I mean, obviously, in an army you would pick two. They lend enough towards each other where I can see good combinations, and then other ones I'm curious if they would work as a combination. Like Feral warriors with, like I said, abhuman muster. We talked about how that is a good combination. But you read through those, I wonder if some other one. There's some that are obviously bad ones. Mine's your ballistic skill, but hey, Armory of All Night wants guns. No, that's bad. But other ones are just interesting choices, like if they would actually work or not. But this is really going to inform you of what type of army you are going to build, and I think that's why they suggest you to figure it out first. Because if you know, oh, these are the abilities I want, okay, then go look at either the units they talk about, or as you look through what units will help. If you're giving people +1 strength, you don't care about giving +1 strength to a unit that's really only goal is to shoot and they can't fight their way out of wet paper bag. Making the bag be able to be a little stronger isn't going to help. So I there's a lot of really good options. It's going to take a bit to go through all of that for sure. All right. That actually took a little less time than I thought. It took quite a bit, but there was tons and tons of options. But that gets us to the last 3 HQ units. I know Dan said he wanted the Psyker.
No, give that
Steve
one
was
to
taking
Steve.
the Psyker.
I got the Psyker.
Do you want the Master Cadre then, or the Command Cadre, Dan?
I'll take the command. I don't know what either does, but command sounds cooler.
All right, so the Discipline Master Cadre. I said these are your veterans going in there, instilling order into all of them. He can either be on foot or mounted. He's move 6 if on foot or 14 if he's mounted. All of his other stats are going to stay the same. It's weapon skill 4, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, initiatives are all 3. He's got 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, a 5 up save, because he's got flak armor on. He's militia and a character, of course. He's got a basic close combat weapon. He can have a last pistol or auto pistol. He has frag grenades and his armor. He is a support squad, so he cannot be your required HQ choice. Are any of the other ones allowed to be? No.
Nope.
Okay. My apologies. I didn't notice that till now. We talked about, do you take this main guy? No, you take him because you have to. Force commander, you have to. You don't have a choice otherwise. All right. So that makes it easier. You have a force commander, so you will always have these rules attached. He has instill order and among the ranks. You can get up to 11 more discipline masters. They can take melt bombs if you want. They could take carapace armor, so up their armor, or get an invul save with a refractor field. Some different types of pistols. They can get a close combat weapon like a chainsword or power weapon. You can put them on a horse, like we said, for 20 points. And if they're mounted, then they could take the lance. For the instill order, if a unit that has this model fails a morale check, a reroll can be made. If so, they take D3 wounds at AP dash. They're allocated by you, but you can't put it on your independent characters, the discipline master or the medical or the medic-K that have joined this. So this is that reroll we talked about. So one warlord trait lets you just pass. This is your reroll fees. And among the ranks, like I said, it's selected like any other unit. It's a single force org, and you can buy up to 12 of them in that one force org. But before the first turn begins, they get deployed into other units. It's the same way your Medicaid, all these other sort of things work. Other little bits. Has to be models with the infantry type and militia subtype, unless you're upgraded to the mounted, and then you have to go into the cavalry squad. You get no more than 1 in a unit. He's part of it, can never leave. If the unit's removed as a casualty, then he's removed as well. If there's victory points, he doesn't give victory points. The unit may, but he does not. He gains all their special rules, other than like bitter duty or something weird like that. And no other special workers. So he is your 20-point way to get rerolls on your leadership. And to get maybe a different weapon in there if you wanted a blast pistol or a needle pistol or someone with a power weapon. But I guess this is more of like your low level, or I guess, yeah, really another commissar. Here's your regular commissars. The other one was a warlord trait commissar, but this is everyone can be a commissar. Not much to say about this guy. He is useful. Your leadership is pretty garbage. Getting rerolls is nice, and he's cheap. So overall, good. And if you can fit him, I can absolutely see that you might take some of these guys, especially if you have an Imperial Guard army. You probably already have a bunch of commissars. Now you just have more. We might actually finish faster than I thought, because that takes us to the rogue side. Because there's not really much more you can say
Yep.
about the guy. You know,
That's
if
pretty
if
straightforward.
he's important, take a bunch. If you like him.
Yeah. So Rogue Psyker.
Yes.
50 points gets you a Rogue Psyker with movement 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 3, and attack and leadership 7. You got a combat weapon and either a las pistol or an auto pistol. Not the best war gear. You're a militia, you're a psyker, you're a character. For special rules, you're an independent character for the Rogue Psyker. You are a support squad. The Rogue Psyker is, lo and behold, a Rogue Psyker and has Fear 1, and it's traitor locked. You could also add up to 9 militia wardens to the unit for 5 points apiece. So for extra 45 points, you have a 95-point unit that's just a bunch of wounds attached to a psyker. Now you're not joining squads while those militia wardens are there, but, they could take some more gear options. The wardens may replace their las pistols or combat weapons with blast pistols for 2 points, chainswords for 2 points, shotguns for free, stub carbines for free, and las carbines for free. And the Rogue Psyker can replace one of their weapons for a force weapon for 10 points. The hilarious thing I kind of want to do is have a squad with 9 wardens, all with 2 blast pistols apiece.
All right. So what's the going to a blast pistol? What's the good and bad for this? Why is that?
Strength 6, 2 shots each. So that's 4 strength 6 shots per guy. That's about it. It's just funny. Is
True.
it good?
I mean,
probably not. But
well,
it's an option.
Here's the other thing, though. It's still cheap. The good in this army, I think when we're all said and done, the very last thing we'll say once we go through the last Lord of War choice and everything is that you're really cheap. So the concept of good is a pretty low bar.
This is true.
You're sub 100 points for all of that, and you have your psyker. Yeah, overall, I think that is objectively good. You just have other things that you might want to do, but no, overall though, yeah, I do like that. Although your psyker on leadership 7 is going to hurt.
Oh yeah, to get into that, don't I? So
Yeah,
your psyker, he's a rogue psyker. He has the anathemata psychic discipline, and may not assist any other disciplines, powers, or weapons. As anathemata, you gain breach the veil and void darts and etheric lightning as your spells. The etheric lightning is your generic one from the rulebook. If you include one more rogue psychers, you get up to 3 non-compulsory troops released from the Runestorm Demon Army list or the Bound Demon Supplementary Army list. The maximum number of units is always 3, regardless of the number of rogue psychers. You pay for points and occupy the Force Orc chart as the psyker, but must begin the battle in reserves and may only enter play by Breach the Veil. No reserve rolls are made for these units. Breach the Veil lets you pull the unit, and essentially, they basically do a fake deep strike. You place a 3-inch marker within 12 inches, 3 from enemy units. You can make a psychic check. If you fail the check, you scatter it. If you pass the check, it does not scatter. Once you get final location, you deploy one of the units in reserve onto the battlefield. You could choose to place 0 if you want. Don't know why you go through all that effort, because you then just remove the Warp Rift marker and it doesn't actually do anything. The demons that you bring in may be intercepted as normal, but they act as normal shooting phase and may charge afterwards. Cool. So you get to pull demons out of your reserves as long as they're in the special reserves for this, right?
Yes.
Or is it any demon?
I'm sorry.
It could be
what is
any
your question?
it could be any Ruinstorm demon unit in reserves.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be one you bring through the discipline. In theory.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Does it have to be the ones that he brought?
Yeah.
No, because it just gives you the breach the veil, which they
Yeah.
must come in that way. But your
Mm-hmm.
normal demons, if you're bringing it in some other way, could do the same. I don't. There's nothing here that says you couldn't, because we know breach the veil lets demons just come in anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so cool. So he's got that. And then we got the Void Darts, range 18, strength 5, AP4. Assault 12 is a pretty good number. They are
Yeah,
Sanctic with Deflagrant and Psychic Focus. So if you Psychic Focus them, you must take a Psychic check to
yeah.
get
That
the
just means you
weapon.
had to take a psychic check to use this power.
Yeah. And Sanctic means they wound demons on 2s. And Invul saves for demons have to be rerolled. Strength 5, though, not bad. Strength 5, 12 shots to flag rate. That's all. It's half a squad of Volkite all by himself. Just
Hey,
for, hurting his head a little bit. Maybe popping like a balloon. Who knows?
and and just about 50-50 that you'll get the power.
Woo! It's like a 55%, I think, for a 7.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit more because you get all the 7s.
Do not put him near that one warlord because the fear is going to hurt him
Yes.
quite a bit. Or you make him the warlord and cause. Oh, wait, he already causes fear. Never mind. Fear cancels
Yes.
fear.
Yeah.
So it's actually not a concern at all. Beautiful. So don't do this at night.
No.
That
Wait
still
until it's
applies.
not night fighting anymore,
Yeah.
because otherwise you will fail. It's at least nice that the wardens don't have a rule of just killing the psyker if he perils. That's at least nice, because I know if you go to 40k, there was there was always rules about certain things like that where they would just destroy the psyker. But all right, if you want to bring demons, this is a great option. If you want some psychic powers, it's not. The attack is nice, and at least he's cheap. But this is a great way if you want to bring in some other forces like demons. All right, that takes us to the militia command cadre that Dan said he was going to talk about.
Yep. So, militia command cadre is 45 points. Okay, so it's more expensive than yours. You have a lieutenant
Yep.
who seems to be a little better. He's movement 6, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, and then 3 toughness and strength. 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, leadership 7, 5 up save. He has 4 bodyguards, basically the same stats. They just are weapon skill and ballistic skill 3. They go down to 1 wound, 1 attack, and leadership 6. They're both infantry. The character is lieutenant. They're armed with a basic close combat weapon, las pistol, auto pistol, las gun, auto rifle, frag grenades, crack grenades, flak armor. Is that the armor
Yeah.
cut off? Oh, okay. It's my computer. Okay, I thought I was going crazy. They have support squad and household retinue. Support squad probably means they can't. That's a legion rule. I don't know. What
No. Support squad just means that you can't be the mandatory choice.
Got it.
Yeah, everyone but the overall leader of this has that rule. So you have to take a force commander no matter what.
Got it. All right. And then household retinue is probably he has their retinue squad.
They may be taken as a retinue.
Yeah, they're allowed to be.
They're not forced to be.
Too. All right, no problem. And of course, if they are, the leader can't leave voluntarily. Blah blah blah. It seems like it's the same rule. Let's see here. You can take up to an addition 15 additional militia bodyguards for 8 points each. God, they're so cheap. Melta bombs 5 points for the lieutenant. You get refractor field for 5 points. It seems like he has bullet pistol, blast pistol. What was the blast pistol again?
Strength 6, 2 shots.
Yeah. Plasma pistol, chainsword, power weapon, power fist. You can take a nuncio box. Okay. So here's take a military standard. You have some shotguns.
So to cover that real fast, the militia standard. I was looking this up earlier. It gives you +1 to combat resolution and stubborn. This for like the company standard gives that squad stubborn.
Got it. Okay.
The unit Vexilias just give +1 to combat res. It does not give you the D6 on fallbacks like the Marine and Solar Aux ones do.
All right. You can give everyone shotguns, which is hilarious. Stub carbines, las carbines, bolt guns, bayonets for 1 point. Let's see here. 1 militia bodyguard in the squad. Oh, wait, only 1 militia bodyguard in the squad?
Yes.
Yep.
Makes change. So wait, 1 out of 20. Okay, just checking.
Yep.
So 1 may take a heavy stubber, grenade launcher, long laser sniper rifle, flamer, melta gun, plasma gun. And 20 points for Carapace. Carapace is a 4-up?
Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
4-up.
And
20
you're going
points
to
for an
take
entire
that
squad. Yeah.
Yes.
because 8 points that gets deleted instantly by a bolter is not a well spent 8 points.
No.
Dan's like,
And
these are so
it's 20
cheap. And I'm
points for the
looking at the
entire
stat line
squad.
and I'm like, that's not a good stat line
And if
for
it's,
8
I was saying, if
points.
it's
No.
20 points for the entire squad and you bulk out the squad, it's what, 2 points a model? It's not bad. I mean, it's a command squad.
No,
I had to,
you can get it to 1 point a model. If you fill out the squad, it's a point a guy.
oh, it's a point a guy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Makes everyone essentially 9 points.
I think that's mandatory.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
not, yeah.
You will have a save that way. Otherwise, often you will not get.
I don't
Yeah.
think you give them a special weapon. Maybe a meltagun?
If
You
I
have
give
some
them
sort of-
anything, it would be the Meltagun. I wouldn't bother with any of the others.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I would, but if I was going to, it
Like
would
if I had to
just be the
spare
Meltagun.
15 points and I didn't want to spend it on anything else.
Well, it's not a bad option because this Meltaguns are useful. And what you're going to notice in a lot of these squads, it's not like you're taking a bunch of them. Grenadiers can take 2 instead of this unit taking 1. It's not, you don't have like a Meltagun squad here. So sprinkling them throughout, if you want them, that's the only way you're going to really get them. Or some of these other special weapons, they don't have the same way some of these other armies do.
And remember, if you take survivors, you can put them in a drill or a land raider or a rhino. But really, it's drills and land raiders you're looking at.
And if you're taking drills, there's your additional Meltaguns. They can fire, take down the vehicle. These guys fire inside. It gives you some options to play with.
Could they take Volkite's needle weapons with the armory of Old Knight?
Militia command cut. It depends on if they're one of the ones listed.
I
I have this document open twice. I feel like I need it 3 times. So that way I can follow.
Yep, command cadres. Yep. Yeah, they could take relic
little
arms
feedback
for
there.
30 points. They could take it.
So take a big squad, get them to 4-up armor saves. You can give them that. So which one? What did they replace? They could take lasgun. So what do they come with base?
Las guns and las pistols.
So
they
you
could
can go to that.
swap both. So they could get like a needle rifle and a Volkite Serpenta, for example, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or
Well, they
vice
upgrade
versa.
las guns to assault needlers.
I like the assault needlers a lot.
I like the assault needlers on these guys for sure. The other options they don't because you need like sniper rifles or heavy weapons.
They
They
do
don't
have a
have it.
sniper rifle in there.
You can buy. I don't know
And
if I want to buy it.
I mean, a Volkite
Depends.
Culverin is a pretty good gun.
I think I go assault needlers though with these guys. And if I have the spare points, maybe I upgrade one of the the heavy. Maybe I take a heavy stubber so I can upgrade it to like say a needle cannon. But I do like them with assault needlers. I think they could actually do quite a bit of work there.
Is you switch both weapons, the las gun and
Yes.
the las pistol. So I would do assault needlers for the las guns and Volkite Serpentas for the las pistols.
Yeah,
So I
you can
think
decide
that-
what you truly need at the time.
Exactly. Because sometimes you just need the strength 5, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, especially if you're going to get something that isn't going to care as much about poison, or something else shot, already pinned, or anything like that. Or sometimes you just want the deflagrate. I'm not gonna. It'll be nice and easy for me to wound you, and I just gotta hope I get more and more through. If the pinning is not the concern, but yeah, I would upgrade that. And now here's a special weapon squad, and this is one of the ones that can get into the. This is the command cadre, right? Yes.
Yep.
So survivors of the Dark Age, yeah, you can put them in a termite assault drill, pop out. My drill takes out your vehicle. Then these guys fire at the juicy bits inside. You can only go up to 10. You couldn't go up to the 20, but you are talking about weapons that get multi-shots. So I like that as an idea.
Or you do Legacy and get them +1 ballistic skill.
Ooh. There's so many of them, I forget which ones those what that is.
Legacy of the Great Crusade, which is the second one on the list, paired with Army of the Old Knights, so that those needle rifles actually hit.
Yeah. And there's a Penta. Yeah, I think that's another good option as well.
So I mean, though, where like you always want 3 of them, not just 2. You're always so
Yes.
close to getting like the build you want. It's like, but I need that one other piece.
I understand why they didn't, because otherwise
Otherwise, there's
you
some obvious
could
builds.
tailor it. Yes, you could tailor into exactly what I want, but the big problem is the penda's only 10 inches, so you'd have to get there. Makes it a little bit tough. Though the extra ballistic skill means you are getting the hits through, which is really big. For the needle, where's its distance? Where are you? There it is. The assault needler, 18 inches, so it's got a little bit more range and more shots. If I'm not taking the drill, I kind of like the needler better. If I am taking the drill, then I might use the other one. But the Serpenta, you could have both, but you just got to get so close is the problem. But I think it's still a good option. All right. All right. Well, that gets us through all the HQ options. That puts us to some final thoughts. If anyone in particular would like to start with where we are, we haven't gone to too many units, but we have discussed them at least a little bit.
Did we forget to mention how they allied to other things? I think we
Forget is a strong
skipped
word.
that. I think we
Skipped is a
skipped
word I
it.
like better.
Yeah.
It
So
sounds more
it's
intentional.
yeah. So it's on the designer's note page, page 4. Short version is they use the line on the table for the Imperial Army faction. They are considered their own sub faction of Imperialis Militia. Okay, that's cool. But here's the thing: it doesn't define how Imperial Army allies with Imperial Army. It just states that on page 5 that if you have kinfolk helots, Apu and Muster, or Ogun conscripts, then you're distrusted allies by everyone, including Solar Auxilia detachments. But if you're not kinfolk helot, Apu and Muster, or Ogun conscripts, it never actually defines what level of alliance you are with Solar Auxilia. And then Custodes treat all detachments from these guys as by the Emperor's command. They are actively your opponent.
Yeah. Normally, an army, for all intents and purposes, because the problem is they're coming out of the same position, and normally you can't do that. But they expressly mention, hey, when this army goes with this army, so we know you absolutely can. To my mind, if you're with Solar Aux, I would just go straight to the highest level. The reason being, if I was a particular Space Marine army and I had more of that same exact Space Marine army, I'm at that level. If you're not telling me to be lower, I don't see why you wouldn't. To me, you are expressly saying the different levels for if what's the highest one? Sworn Brothers, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. If you're not Sworn Brothers, then you'd have to tell me what you are, and that's what the other ones have done. So I would say you're Sworn Brothers with Solar Aux. I mean, you're humans with other humans. I think that's fine. As long as you don't have any of the abhuman stuff in it. And it's not breaking it. You're not going to be breaking this faction if you let like their characters come into these units or vice versa. All right, no, that was a good catch though, because I did think halfway through, I'm like, we never talked about that. Probably should, and I forgot about it. Well, since you had those thoughts, Steve, do you have any other thoughts as we close this out?
Um,
From what we've seen so far.
this is a great way to bust out those old fantasy battle armies.
Yeah, pretty much.
As I keep mentioning horses and Napoleonics, maybe even Napoleonic horses. Who knows? Um, I feel like I'll have more to say when we get more into the meat of it. There's a lot of warlord traits to pick from. There's a lot of combinations of buffs you could give. It's a very very open field of options, and you're going to find that you have more options in this list than you do in the Solar Auxilia list, but you have so little staying power.
I think that's the so far that's sort of the name of the game is just options. You have tons of choices. You you, you start here. You know that you had to take a force commander. You know you're going to be taking 2 principals. So figure out those. Then go back and look. Hey, what warlord trait kind of fits this? What would work well? Okay, let me do that. and then you go to the other units, and then you say, okay, well, this is what I want. Which are the right units? Because that kind of spoiler right here, they don't have tons and tons of units. This isn't an army that has like 30 unit choices. Oh, if you want the ones that are close combat, there's some obvious options to look there. You want Ogryns? Yeah, okay, so the Ogryn one, let me grab a bunch of Ogryns. We were talking Lord of the Rings earlier, so I started looking at their horses. Not that I wouldn't do it for the cost v points necessarily. But since we were talking about them, like look at theirs, I'm like, that could work. Their Knights of Rivendell have essentially what you could call the militia lance and all. It's hard to know all the details at this point, but you at least have a lot of options. And depending on what you want to build, you're going to find a way to do it. Whether you're going to do it well, I'm not sure if this army's going to do anything well, but you're going to have a bunch of bodies and you're going to have fun. How about you, Dan? Any other thoughts?
I just like it because I read, I think it was the Siege of Terra book that had beastmen storming the walls.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and it was just really cool. I mean, I sold all my beastmen, God, years ago now. At this point, it was pre-COVID.
Oh yeah, I do remember those. They were real.
I had a lot too. That was one of my besides my custodians, probably one of my bigger armies. Although now the demons, I think, are taking that place. I don't know. I don't even know if Steve knows about that army.
Probably not. I don't think I didn't see you actually play it or use it much.
Well, I used it mostly for Sigmar. Steve, do you know about my Beastman army that I used?
I remember you mentioned it, but I don't think I've ever actually
it.
experienced it.
So remember how I told you I got dwarves for super cheap at Bazaar Bazaar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the same with Beastmen. I had like somewhere upwards of 200 just Bestigors in plastic. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Painted Bestigors?
No. This was another mass unpainted army. The Bulgors were all painted, and I think the Gors were all painted, but that was about it. But anyway, yeah, I like the fact that, like, if I had the Beastman army, I would absolutely 1000% use that in this. Like 100% use that in this. And I could just imagine, what is it? Abhuman plus, what was the one that gave me Feral again? Feral. Oh, it was Feral.
I'd say, I think it's literally Feral or Feral Warriors.
It gave me Feral. I just called Feral. Having that, like, charge forward as crazy as possible, coupled with like a bunch of Lehman Russ tanks that are super cheap, is just it just brings a smile to my face. That's a really cool army.
They fit rule of cool. I don't necessarily think they fit rule of be good, but
I was gonna say
rule of cool is good.
When have I ever played an army? Well, usually the armies I play become meta, but usually I start
because you play the army before the armies come out.
Exactly.
If you play anything that GW hasn't put out, it's going to be good because that's just the
exactly
the
but that's
general
what I'm saying.
Pattern of GW.
Yep, pretty much.
And,
but yeah, no, I would play that even if it's not good, because actually I played Bloodthirsters before the new Demon book came out, and that was
Bloodthirsters weren't bad before. They were. I'm not saying they're amazing. No, they were fine. Remember, your opponent.
Now they're fine.
The opponents and others judge a validity of an army, not the person who plays it, because you're going to remember the times when you rolled either way too good or way too bad. Other people are much better to make those determinations. Actually, speaking of Bazaar, if you happen to be local near us in New Jersey, we are having a bazaar where people can go and both sell things, usually for very cheap, or pick things up, usually for very cheap. It is on May 27th. I don't have the start time in front of me, though. Do you, Dan? Do you know?
Yeah.
You do know? Then you could say it.
No, I don't remember.
I said, do you know? And you just said yes.
No, I said, I meant to be like, yeah, with an inflection of like, no.
That's
like a,
That's not how anything works.
Steve laughing in the background.
You know what? If you're there at 6 a.m., you'll be waiting outside the door, but you won't be late.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to remember.
I want to say it's like 11, the door.
It's usually supposed to.
And then bids start at 12, I think.
Usually, yeah. I'm trying.
Is it on Facebook?
Yes, it's
got to be on
Facebook.
Yeah, hold on.
So if you can find it quickly, let me know.
Yeah,
oh, there it is. 1 p.m.
It might be under events.
I found it. 1 p.m. So it
Was
starts
it June
at 1.
10th? No,
it's May 27th. It's Memorial Day weekend. Same way it's always been.
Why does mine say? Oh, because I'm looking at the goddamn.
You're looking at a previous year.
No, not only that. I'm looking at the
Oh, the
conquest tournament.
Yes.
That's why I'm so confused. I'm like, why is? Oh, I didn't even sign up for this. Why?
No.
Send me an invite, real quick, if you don't mind. Yeah, that's so weird that I don't have it.
Just go on the webpage. I don't even remember. What do you? I mean, I'll send it as we.
I can't. I don't know if you put it on the.
There it is. It is put up there because that's how I know it, and that's how everyone else knows it.
I'm on the Maplewood Hobby.
I'm literally staring at it right now.
What the fuck am I like on the wrong Maplewood Hobby page?
Probably, but I will post up for anyone who happens to be local to Jersey. It is either looking to get rid of things cheap or pick things up cheap. They said it'll be May 27th. Starts at 1, although we do a buy it now, usually starting at 12. So we have slips. You put down your starting bid and a buy it now price. There's an hour buy it nows first. If you want any of those things, you hold it up. If no one else wants it, you get it buy it now price. If anyone does, it goes to auction. The auction goes until question mark. We've had times when we're done in 3 hours. We've had times when we've been there for 5 or 6 or anything like that. There's been times when there's a table or so of stuff. There's been times when we fill the downstairs and half of the upstairs. So you never really know how much or what you're going to find. But I will put in the show notes a spot to that if anyone, like I said, is local and is interested. But having said that, then we'll close this on out here. So as always, we want to thank everyone who does listen. Remember, we're available on any podcatcher. We also have all this and more stuff on YouTube. We should hopefully have a battle report this week. We should have a battle report next week. And the plan is for when that Chthonian book hits our hands that we'll have some battle reports and other stuff from it. Don't know how fast we're going to be able to get it into our hands, but the faster that we can, we will absolutely throw that out there. For other things coming out, like I said, now I'm actually off of work, so I have some other plans of things I want to put out. We should have some more Militia for you later this week. We should have a bunch of Militia for you next week as well, and hopefully a few other things, at least that I have planned, and we'll see what else we get to. Like I said, I do want to get back to some more Conquest stuff. I'm actually going and playing a game tomorrow, and might be learning Flames of War later on Tuesday. I'm not sure. I had to see, or maybe going through Arena Rex. I don't know which one. And probably, actually, I'm playing another game of 30K Thursday. Having summers is nice because I have a whole bunch of games that I plan on doing. Remember, you can keep up with us on Facebook if Dan will actually start doing any of that. We also have a Discord. We do have a Patreon as well. So if you enjoy our content and you would like to contribute to help us out with getting more equipment and things like that, that is always helpful, especially as we try to upgrade what we do, especially for battle reports and all. Is really where we need it the most. Is that we don't lock anything behind there unless we put out some just weird stuff or maybe ramblings, but none of what we will call the mainline content would ever get put behind there. All right, so other than that, on behalf of everyone here at the show, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.